Los Angeles boogeyman is back in the headlines. Wack 100 is making some bold statements, saying he pressed Fabolous in the VIP section in San Francisco, right in front of Fat Joe, with 30 to 40 people watching it all unfold. That's a heavy claim.
It probably was about 30, 40 people down there because it was a VIP lounge in the vault of the Wells Fargo Bank.
He's painting a picture like the so-called LA boogeyman had New York heavy hitters nervous in the Bay. That's a big scene to imagine. According to Wack, he walked in, got welcomed by Fat Joe and VIP, everything calm and official at first.
Fabolous, get out of there.
In the block.
Quick. He hear Fat Joe say, yo, Wack, what is going on? Wack, what's happening?
Then he says the moment Joe called his name, Fab started moving fast and slid out of the section quick, like gone in seconds. That's how he tells it. Wack claims Fab was beating his feet and vanished before anyone could blink. That story is coming straight from Cash Michael Roy Jones, better known as Wack 100 himself.
Let me tell you what the world don't know. Had a face-to-face in Frisco, in the vault of a bank. And just when I thought nobody knew, because Fabolous ran his bitch ass up out of there. Guess what I gets into my phone?
Now this is where it gets interesting. There's Clubhouse audio floating around and people are breaking it down piece by piece, trying to figure out what really went down versus what just sounds dramatic. You have to ask though, why keep pushing this angle? Is this about old tension connected to Jim Jones? Is this strategic?
Footage.
The video.
You're not gonna tell me two people that people know what's going on and people the problem, and you're in a room full of people. Anybody, it probably was about 30, 40 people down there because it was a VIP lounge in the vault.
In today's world, a wild story, real, stretched, or misunderstood, can travel fast online and spark non-stop debate. That's just how the internet works. Still, some fans aren't convinced. Fabolous has built a reputation over the years for standing tall and not backing down easily. So the big question remains, did it really happen like that? Or is this just another headline-grabbing moment in hip-hop talk?
15, 20-minute conversation. I'm thinking we're in an intricate place. Fat Joe man tell a nigga with the camera, hey, kill that camera. It ain't on. I don't give a fuck. Actually, it was on. I'm letting you know what you better not raise up.
People still remember what happened with Ray J at that mall in LA years ago when things got tense and Fab was not backing down from anything. Paul Kane was right there with him too. Fab has moved around the West Coast plenty of times without issues, so let's keep that part honest. That's why some folks are side-eyeing his news story like, was Fab really shaking? Come on, Fab has been in this game for years, respected in the streets and in the music world. There's no clear reason to think he would suddenly run from anybody. That just doesn't line up with the image people have seen over time.
Somebody still had the footage. You want me to believe that all this going on with Lil Baby and this dude direct.
I can't put Mano or Jim in last. They both had hard verses. Dave East's wordplay was crazy. The whole song is right. I'm in my order. Dave East, Fab, and then Jim and Mano. I can't say
Fab.
Either one of their verses.
Fab, Mano,
nobody's verse was whack.
Fab, Mano, Jim Jones, Dave East.
But let's keep it pushing. Now, Wack 100 is bringing this up while also referencing that San Francisco situation involving Lil Baby, where an associate was reportedly involved in a serious altercation with an NFL player after a disagreement linked to a club environment. That situation was intense and made major headlines, but comparing that kind of chaos to this VIP club story, that feels like two totally different vibes. So now the narrative being pushed is that Fab left the club because of Wack. That's the headline angle. But let's pause for a second. Is there actual footage of Fab running out of VIP because of you? Is there proof? Or is this just conversation that sounds bigger online than it might have been in real life? Right now, all anyone can really do is guess. A more realistic version could be simple. Fab was in the club, Wack was in the club, and maybe Fat Joe greeted Wack. Maybe he didn't. Maybe Joe was mid-conversation, Fab showed love to Joe and kept it moving without even acknowledging Wack at all. That scenario sounds just as possible.
And said, I really been to King Park.
Fabolous blew the whole fucking thing out of the water.
Nah, he just mentioned squatters.
And he said shit about his bitch getting pissed on.
Yeah, no, he did his shit. He did his shit. I with Fab. But I think Dave East a little more grittier,
If 50
a little more
doesn't,
grimier with it.
If I don't see an Instagram post going at Fabolous by the end of the day, then I'm gonna know 50's scared.
No, we got 50.
I don't think 50 wanted with Fab.
No, you're missing the point.
Until I see otherwise.
That doesn't automatically mean he ran. It could simply mean he wasn't checking for you at all. But now the story flips into, I made him leave. Slow down, champ. It's very possible he just didn't feel the need to engage. Fab is a major name in the industry. Yes, you've managed artists like Ray J and Blueface, that's public knowledge. But that doesn't mean Fab would feel pressured over you. Let's break this down without blowing it out of proportion. And let's cut the side comments about skin tone and all that extra stuff. That's not needed. Stick to the facts and the moment. From a realistic angle, maybe Fab saw Wack in the club and just didn't care enough to interact. That's it.
The G Unit got to respond. G Unit has to respond.
But he can't just send Lloyd Banks out. And Lloyd Banks don't give a f. What, is he going to send Yayo at him? I mean, honestly.
50 Yayo murder.
Not every situation is drama. Not every move is fear. Sometimes it's simple indifference. Fab isn't required to shake your hand, dap you up, or give you a nod in VIP. That's not how life works. If he saw you greet Fat Joe and decided to keep it moving, that doesn't equal running. That could mean he chose not to entertain the situation. And that's a big difference. Now look at the bigger picture. Wack has publicly disagreed with Jim Jones. Fab is known to be close with Jim. So why would Fab give energy to someone who has tension with his circle? That wouldn't make sense. Ignoring the situation could actually be the most loyal move possible. That's not avoiding smoke, that's standing solid with your people. Or maybe Fab was already heading out. Maybe he felt the energy shift and thought, not tonight.
So you think they should come out as a unified front?
They came out as a unified front. You motherfucker right. It'll be good for hip hop, great for New York. It'll wake New York up.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And guess what?
New York needs something.
Banks need to pop back up.
I don't think Banks with 50 like that anymore, does he?
He don't.
Yeah.
But we can't have Zesty Man doing it. You know, he got caught with the transgenders and everything.
Who's the Zesty Man?
Buck.
That's grown man timing right there. Leaving before anything awkward or messy can even start is smart, not scary. Turning that into I made him run feels like a stretch from the outside looking in. This sounds more like a cold shoulder than a dramatic escape. And honestly, that's probably the cleanest way to handle it. At this stage, it starts to feel less about what actually happened and more about momentum. In this industry, getting your name circulating on blogs, podcasts, and social media is valuable currency. So the real question becomes, is this story being amplified for attention? That's something people are definitely debating. Is there a bigger play behind pushing a story that might be exaggerated or only half the picture? That's the real question.
Oh, yeah, but that been over. That been over for 20 years.
Yeah, but Buck will jump out the window and I'll go. He does that.
Yeah, right. 50 has spent the last 25 years trying to destroy
He didn't
Buck's
crawl
life.
back a couple times.
Yeah, but it never worked out.
No, he's on the phone crying and shit.
Yeah.
Maybe Fab did leave the club, but maybe he left because he simply didn't feel like standing around someone he doesn't vibe with. That's a choice, not fear. Let's make that clear. That whole boogeyman energy might land a certain way in some rooms, but New York legends don't get rattled that easy. Thinking somebody from that circle was shaken just off your presence, that feels like a reach. No need to gas it into something it's not. This isn't about ego, it's about perspective. From this angle, it looks less like a scary moment and more like someone getting intentionally ignored. And honestly, being ignored can hit the ego a little. That's human.
So let me say this clean so it doesn't get twisted. In my professional opinion, Fab probably saw Wack, showed respect to Fat Joe, and moved like Wack wasn't even part of the equation. That's the read. That's the take. Anything past that starts sounding more like narrative building than confirmed reality. Now here's the part people dance around. In today's media world, perception is power. If you control the story, you control the spotlight.
You know what I'm saying? I never forget when I go to the studio encore and this dude is in the game session. I'm like, what the fuck
What's
is
the
you
studio
doing?
encore?
Encore over here in Glendale. He was recording over there. Gang was doing, I want to say like maybe LAX, one of the albums.
So if someone jumps on Clubhouse and says, I made him run, a portion of listeners will believe it just because it sounds bold and dramatic. That's how attention moves now. But let's ground this for a second. Fab has been active in the culture for years. He's moved through different cities, different spaces, with a steady reputation. One club moment doesn't erase that history overnight. A person leaving a venue doesn't automatically equal panic. It could mean timing. It could mean priorities. It could simply mean avoiding pointless tension. That's grown man energy. And think about this too. If there was clear footage of someone running scared, wouldn't it be all over social media by now? Clips, zoom-ins, slow-motion edits, blog breakdowns. The internet loves moments like that. The fact that there's no solid proof floating around says a lot. At the end of the day, this feels more like a battle of narratives than a real confrontation. One side speaks loudly about applying pressure, the other side stays quiet and keeps moving. And sometimes, silence speaks louder than any bold claim ever could.
And I'm like, bro, what are you doing here? Because 50 had just got into it with him. He ran straight out here the game. I said, yeah, you a boy. Because you was over there making DJ.
First off, we're not doing any disrespectful color jokes or side comments. That's unnecessary. Let's stick to the facts and the narrative. At the end of the day, getting ignored in a club happens to people all the time. That alone doesn't mean someone felt pressured or scared. From this angle, the story feels like either a half-truth or something stretched for impact. The timeline feels unclear, the energy in the retelling sounds amplified, and there's no solid proof out there to lock it in. That's why it raises eyebrows. Still, it's only fair to let everyone speak and let the audience decide. So here's the real question. Was this a small moment turned into a big headline, or was it just talk designed to grab attention? Because when a story drops out of nowhere and starts shaking up the timeline, people are gonna react. Now we wait and see if the Let's Rap About It podcast responds, especially with existing tension already in the air. Is this leftover smoke resurfacing, or is this a brand new narrative being introduced? That's what makes it interesting. We're watching it unfold in real time. If you're rocking with this breakdown, subscribe to Hood Posts, hit that like button, share the video, and tap the hype button to support a growing channel. I appreciate every single one of you for supporting the movement, for real.
Yo, Wack.
What up, bro?
Real stream, man. Hey, did you see what 50 said to Mano and them?
Them niggas over there squatting.
Hey. So you know what I was saying though? I said Mano gotta keep the same energy. Right?
Nah, he's a bitch.
He gotta keep the same energy. Because put it like this. When I was, first of all, I didn't even start joking on him. I was making a joke about Fabolous. He jumped in. He jumped in. And then when he jumped in,
he needs something to talk about, bro. Look, what does Mano have to talk about?